Welcome, listeners. As we peel back the layers of history's shadowy corners, today we'll delve into a chilling period that redefined China's socio-political landscape, the Cultural Revolution. The Cultural Revolution, formerly known as the Great Proletarian Cultural Revolution, was sparked by Chairman Mao Zedong in 1966. For a full decade, until Mao's death in 1976, this turbulent movement shook the foundations of the People's Republic of China, marking an era marred by chaos, widespread violence, and an appalling infringement of human rights. Chairman Mao's objectives in initiating the Cultural Revolution were multifold. Primarily, he sought to regain control over the Chinese government, a grip he felt was slackening. To reassert his authority, Mao strived to eliminate remnants of capitalist and traditional elements from Chinese society and reimpose his ideology, known as Mao Zedong thought or Maoism, as the guiding principle of the Chinese Communist Party. The impact of the revolution was far-reaching, seeping into the very fabric of daily Chinese life. Education became a primary casualty. Schools and universities across the country shuttered their doors, causing a countrywide educational crisis. Young intellectuals, the lifeblood of the cities, were forcefully dispatched to rural regions to be re-educated by the peasantry, a directive that shook the intellectual foundation of the nation. Cultural devastation was yet another ghastly face of this revolution. Countless historic artifacts, sites of significant cultural importance, books, artworks, heritage of a civilization that spanned 5 millennia, were wantonly destroyed by the Red Guards. These radical student-led paramilitary social movement, fueled by Mao's aggressive policies, engaged in widespread cultural destruction. The human cost of the Cultural Revolution was horrifically substantial. Fundamental human rights were crushed under the weight of state-led persecution. Millions found themselves publicly humiliated, arbitrarily imprisoned, subjected to torture, and forcibly relocated. Harassment became a societal norm. Properties were seized. Hard labor and even execution were meted out as punishments. Estimates of the death toll during the Cultural Revolution vary wildly, but veer towards the inconceivable. From hundreds of thousands to a potential count in millions, the loss of life is staggering. When we consider the entirety of Mao's policies and political purges from 1958 to 1976, the death count is believed to stand anywhere between 40 to 80 million, placing Mao in the infamous position of potentially the most lethal dictator in human history. Since the late 1970s, the Cultural Revolution has been officially recognized as a negative event, a disastrous period in China's history. Deng Xiaoping, who assumed power after Mao's demise, led China on a new path, focusing on economic development and moving away from aggressive political campaigns. Yet the scars of the Cultural Revolution remain, a stark and somber testament to a decade that witnessed chaos, extensive loss of life, and economic stagnation. These haunting remnants of a violent past cast long shadows, not just in China, but across the globe. A nation's heritage was decimated, its intellectuals stymied, and its people subjected to an ordeal of unprecedented magnitude. The psychological, cultural, and socio-political repercussions of this era are deeply etched in China's consciousness, a grim reminder of the dire consequences of unchecked power and radical ideologies. The echoes of this devastating period reverberate through the decades, an admonitory whisper to humanity, to remember, to learn, and to ensure such history is not repeated. Thank you for joining us today. We'll continue to uncover the fascinating, sometimes unsettling stories history has to offer. Until then, keep exploring.